welcome. So there's a bit of a hiccup with Kick, but yeah, we're back. We're back. We're back. Apparently, I can still stream despite all the hiccups with my PC right now. But yay! Welcome everyone. Rai, hi, hi, Rai. Okay, let me stream on my phone. Alright. Alright, there we go. Hi. So my plugins, my OBS, well, scenes more like the windows, the capture window function for OBS is not working properly, so I'm doing main display. But hi, welcome. So yeah, so update with everything. Probably if you missed what I posted on social medias, is that one of my RAM sticks was dying, or at least one of them. So I had to just get a whole new set, and when I did that, I just went, no, fuck it, I'm going to 64 gigabytes RAM because why not? And when I did that, it worked. It kind of. Someone's being loud with their fucking car. Anyway, it kind of worked at this, but Windows had trouble booting in, booting up. And when I finally got in, tried to figure out what was going on, but might be it mostly be a software issue. And I count drivers as a software issue as well, since this wasn't in charge of the hardware. If it's not working, then then it would have been. It might be some sort of software issue that's conflicting with my drivers. I'm not sure, so I'm having a friend come over tomorrow and help me just reinstall Windows. However, what I did in preparation is I backed up all my OBS settings. So I went into my programs folder in my C drive and just backed up the entire OBS folder that has all the OBS configuration settings and all that. So I backed it up, and yeah, you're here for an hour of it. Yep. So yeah, I pretty much backed up everything. Plus, I backed up all my Twitch assets folder. I backed that up as well. So I have both of those backed up onto my thumb drive. So yep, I'm happy and I'm okay with oh yeah, I also backed up all my models and everything. So yeah, so pretty much, yep. I backed everything up, so when I reinstall Windows, all I have to do is just reinstall my browsers, reinstall OBS, and just import my OBS settings back, and just mess with the configurations again. Configurations are fine, but just logging back into everything. So yeah. So yeah. Also with my with LibreWolf and Warp being Firefox based, all I have to do is just log into my Firefox account and just boom, done. And I'll just have all my settings back, hopefully. But yeah. Anywho, what if Anakin refused to kill Count Dooku? Let's go.
Hello. Our story begins with indecision. Anakin's wrists twitched, but did not flash forward. Palpatine had already said his infamous words. Dooku reacted by forcing his eyes shut, but the sabers did not come. Silence did not follow. Only the buzzing of the two sabers overlapping one another filled the air. Sidious looked on in disappointment, and Tyrannus turned his head over to look at his master. He could not believe Palpatine had done this to him. Despite Dooku's very clear disbelief, he had another reaction, one for Skywalker. Someone so frequently controlled by his impulses, rather than thinking things through, had reacted with a twitch and nothing more. No one said anything. The blades continued
Ooh.
to hum until Anakin deignited both of them, leaving only the ambience of the outside space battle to fill the void of noise.
Ooh.
Anakin's fingers shook gently around the weapon, putting it back on his belt before presenting Dooku's before himself. His eyes turned towards Palpatine, and he shook his head. He could not. This was not his responsibility. This was not courage, nor was it mercy. Anakin was not an executioner. He couldn't kill Dooku not due to the Jedi Code forbidding it, but because he valued himself more than such a vile role. Palpatine should have seen him in a higher light than that, and Skywalker spat out those words, telling his mentor figure that he was not an executioner. The Chancellor leaned backwards, his face contorted in a vicious scowl, slowly slipping back into a monotone resting face. He nodded his head, pursing his lips and apologizing to Anakin. The damage had been done though. Palpatine had crossed that line. Skywalker wasn't exactly thinking about how that had been done, because it was just a reaction at this point.
Ooh, Mavi is such...
That action, that order from
Yeah,
his
it
friend,
is. It is.
seemed like he was taking advantage of him. It was clear that his mentor wanted him to progress his political career. Even if Anakin didn't pay attention to or follow Palpatine's moves inside the Senate, it felt like this wasn't just an order, it was a certification. Anakin walked over to Dooku and pulled him up from underneath his shoulder. He continued thinking that Palpatine would use this as a moment to tell the Republic that he personally called for Dooku's death. Maybe Anakin was overthinking this. Maybe this was an over-exaggeration, but his friend had never tried to push him to such lengths. It felt wrong. Dooku turned to him and they looked at one another for a short moment. Dooku told Anakin 7 words. Use Chancellor Frequency, Order 65 and 66. Skywalker pulled back for a moment, before using the Force to unlock Palpatine's restraints. Tyrannus' saber sat in his opponent's hand until it found itself home on Anakin's belt. Sidious eyed his student with disgust, but the look was shared in response. Palpatine did not hear the whisper of what Dooku said, but he worried about the implications of it. The two Sith waited for Anakin to lug Obi-Wan up over his shoulder. Anakin wasn't especially worried for Palpatine because the loser of their contest was unarmed, literally. Once everyone was situated, they started walking out of the chamber. The ship started to tilt,
Unarmed.
leaving all 4 individuals to flop to the other side of the elevator room. They never could walk through the elevator shaft, Dooku not being able to pull himself up without hands. Palpatine was apparently too weak to help him, and Anakin was carrying Obi-Wan. So they were tossed to the other side of the elevator room when the invisible hand descended towards the atmosphere. Due to the chaos surrounding the quick change, the starship started to buckle. The ship's shields were depleted and the hull was splitting apart. Once the flagship leveled out, Obi-Wan woke up.
Welcome everyone.
Took a
Welcome,
little bit of
welcome.
a bump by falling from across the
How's everyone
room
been?
into the wall.
We're
was annoyed because
currently watching some Star Wars fan stories. There's gonna be meant to be a chill stream just to relax and just to talk to everyone. How are you doing today? There you go. Have fun. Thank you, Shady Fox. Thank you. Hopefully your day is going well. Yeah, thank you. Welcome everyone. My name is Brandon Blitz. I'm a variety streamer. I stream lots of video games to chat suggest me, as well as I draw art. I do coding, and and behind the scenes I'm in the middle of practicing 3D modeling to hopefully one day show on stream. I have a date, so have fun. Enjoy your date. I'll babysit your chatters here for you. And we can do chat. Go hog wild. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy your time here. And what you can expect from me is basically I make a lot of jokes to the point that you will question my mental sanity. And that's okay. Alright, here we go.
Obi-Wan's backside landed on his face. Palpatine was pissed because
Ooh.
he face planted into Dooku's boots, and Anakin landed.
I do calms the people. Ooh, you 3 million commissions. If I happen to catch your stream, because I'm usually either working at my job or doing my own stream here. If I happen to catch your stream before or after my stream, then yeah, on stream VR chat on. Oh, all right, yeah.
On all three of them. Once they got themselves back to their feet,
I'm focusing on saving up money to one day move out of the country and get some VR gear. But yeah.
the invisible hand came under fire from an assortment of different destroyers. Due to the Republic assuming that General Grievous's flagship had been raided by the Jedi heroes that effectively saved the Chancellor, they attacked to win the battle now. Without breaking formation, a Venator bared down on the rear engines of the ship. The Nemodians inside the vessel tried to gather themselves for a counterattack, but they couldn't defend themselves at their rear. In the back, Anakin took command, directing Dooku forward as Obi-Wan helped the Chancellor. Tyrannus knew that they would die if they didn't get out of this vessel, so he gave them directions for a stairwell towards a separate hangar.
I've had to turn dark mode on, it's too bright. Yeah. It is too bright. I always use dark mode for pretty much everything. So my phone has dark mode, OBS is dark mode, my browser is dark mode, pretty much everything is dark mode. It's just, the light mode is just too bright. It is too bright. Yeah, see ya. Hopefully we'll meet again. And welcome, chatters. Or shall I say, well, I call my chatters Blitzy, so if you're okay with that. Hello, my Blitzies.
Sidious continued to scowl at him until they made their way downstairs. The two Jedi, upon their arrival, wiped out the few battle droids protecting the shuttle. Anakin pushed Dooku into the bay as Palpatine sat down across from him. Obi-Wan, the last one in, monitored the duo as Skywalker pulled the throttle backwards and pulled out of the hangar bay. Just as they left, General Grievous's escape pods jettisoned from the flagship towards a nearby Lucrehulk. Anakin didn't think anything of the escape pods as he watched the invisible hand split into half, with part of it falling towards the surface of Coruscant. Without anything else blocking their path, Anakin had no problem getting into the capital city and landing at the executive building, where Dooku would be apprehended, and Anakin given a chance to speak to Obi-Wan about what Tyrannus said to him. While the information about Order 66 and 65 made it to a member of the High Council, it didn't make it to the Council itself. Obi-Wan had to wait for Master Windu to return from the Executive Plaza, and for Anakin's day with the Senators to come to a conclusion. In the meantime, the Senate had to make a vote to give more executive control over the Republic to the Supreme Chancellor. Dooku had a much shorter trip. He'd be taken over to the Republic military prison complex. Too many people wanted Dooku dead, and the most elite members of the Coruscant Guard, including 4 temple guards, were placed outside the cell to make sure the leader of the Confederacy never escaped or died before his prison sentence. Chancellor Palpatine wanted him dead, fearing what he might say to the Jedi. However, he did get his chance to speak with Anakin. In an effort to keep his motivations quiet, Palpatine simply told Anakin to be wary of Dooku's words. He had quite the reputation for manipulation. After all, he managed to go from Jedi to government leader. Skywalker told the Chancellor and his mentor that he didn't trust a thing that Dooku said. Not that there was anything important to note either. Palpatine nodded, walking beside his friend and patting his back. He did ask to know what the Sith said to him. Anakin paused, squinting at Palpatine and telling him that he was thanked. Dooku wanted to extend his graciousness for having spared his life, despite everything he had done to him. Palpatine similarly paused and then nodded his head too. It didn't sound like Dooku, but looking death in the eye can change a man. Certainly didn't change Palpatine's master's fate, haha. Their conversation continued with an appointment of the High Council.
Talk about airplane jokes, alright?
And Anakin's overwhelming joy. A result that would need to be finalized the following day. Before Anakin could meet what he expected to be his peers, he spent the night with Padme. Their night was full of quick quips like "love has blinded you," but it also had an off-topic conversation. Anakin had some questions regarding his feelings on what his trust for Palpatine should be. This was less of him talking about being told to execute Dooku, and more of just wondering if he was being taken advantage of. Padme knew Sheev quite well, being that he was one of her first instructors before she joined the Senate. She told her husband that while she couldn't speak for him, she would be quite surprised if Palpatine was trying to take advantage of him. However, she had to be clear that sometimes people change, and if his intuition was warning him, then perhaps...
Okay, I'm gonna get to the point I'm dozing off and go to bed. Have a good night's sleep. Love you, Blitzy. Bye bye, matinee.
perhaps he should keep an eye open. Padme wanted Anakin to be happy, and despite having her own disagreements with Palpatine,
night, hun.
she didn't want to influence her husband's answer. The two of them then came to the conclusion that he would just stay back a little bit. Not that he wanted to spoil the relationship between himself and the Chancellor, but just give himself some space. It clearly got under his skin, and whatever Padme didn't know was bothering Anakin enough for him to bring it up. That, though, was a very positive step in their relationship. Communication was helping, and Anakin went to bed that
Anakin, stop panicking. I have a planikin.
night, no longer worrying about his friendship. He and Palpatine could spend a few days apart, no biggie. Anakin really just needed some time
How big is the
to think
biggie?
about the whole executioner thing that put him off inside the invisible hand. Even though happy thoughts filled his head before he went to bed, terrors filled his mind.
Hey yo, happy thoughts? How many happy thoughts are there?
In the following day, the nightmares came and he couldn't do anything to stop them. Skywalker didn't get the answers he wanted from the Grand Master, and was left to return to the council chambers. First, he'd be made a member of the council, yet there would also be another change. Skywalker believed he'd become a Jedi Master upon his ascension to the council, and the truth is, Dooku had given over some other details regarding Anakin's stoicism. The situation was very muddled. The Jedi Council knew that Dooku had given over some key details about a potential execution, and the truth is, the Jedi had to choose between Dooku's story and whatever Palpatine came up with. Yoda considered asking Anakin about the situation of being an executioner, but he feared that the conversation could bring up unnecessary tension. Thus, the council decided to give Anakin the rank of Master. It also would come with his secretive mission to spy on the Chancellor. It also should be said that Dooku went out of his way to not mention anything about the Sith and Palpatine's relation. This wasn't just his way of getting back, but a way of separating Anakin from the Chancellor. The session went with Anakin's promotion, the discussion about the Outer Rim sieges, Yoda's assignment to Kashyyyk, and then Anakin's first vote as a counselor and a master. The Jedi had to make a decision regarding the orders given to them by Count Dooku. According to Skywalker's report, the Jedi were to use their Chancellor's frequency to give out Orders 65 and 66. The vote went for a yes or a no. Anakin didn't want to side against Palpatine or even the Senate, but before he decided to vote no, he switched to a yes. His conclusion, especially with the relief and comfortability of the rank of Master, was that if Palpatine was innocent, then why not try it? Plus, it really could be just a nothing burger anyways. It could just be a way for Dooku to sway his influence after his capture. Anyways, Anakin was much more interested and concerned with how the Council would be able to manipulate the Chancellor's communication frequency, and how Dooku already knew that, but that could come later. The vote went almost perfectly in favor of using Orders 65 and 66.
If they execute Order 66, it would be considered an accidental game over.
To experiment with what the executive orders were. It was simple curiosity and potential desperation for the group of elders. Despite the session being dismissed so Obi-Wan could inform Anakin about his secret mission, the counselors who remained behind moved straight for the communication room inside the temple. Anakin and his master, on the other hand, booked it straight for the Jedi archives. Skywalker was antsy to get his hands on information that might help him bring an end to his nightmares and help Padme survive her potentially deadly pregnancy. He was rushing through corridors, forcing Obi-Wan to speed behind him, as he tried to keep pace and quietly explain his mission. But the problem is, the archives were at the heart of the temple. There were dozens of younglings, students, teachers, and monks that surrounded them the deeper they went. At the same time, as Kenobi struggled to reveal the assignment given by the council, the other members of that same council contacted Republic High Command. They used a frequency that looked as if it came from the Chancellor's office, something that their techie Jedi had to come up with once they started to distrust Palpatine. This would mock his personal frequency to make it appear as if it came directly from him, rather than someone else like themselves. A hooded Jedi, using a modified voice, spoke through the hologram and executed Order 65 and 66. Silence echoed through the communication, before a clone commander on the other side said, "It will be done, my lord." The transmission cut, and the Jedi quickly looked to one another, questioning what they had just done. That reaction from the clone was very confusing. The clone had been quite responsive when the communication opened up, but those words transformed him into a silent voice, someone burdened by what he had been ordered to do. At least it seemed as such. This put the council on edge because it was true. The executive branch had mysterious orders that they did not know about. Had Anakin been with the counselors when they did this, he may have recognized the tonal difference in the voice that was shared between the commander and Din Tup, but he was busy getting into the restricted section with Jocasta Nu.
Oh no.
Again, as a result, Obi-Wan had to hold off from the mission statement. She was busy telling Kenobi's student about the restricted section and how it worked, how long holocrons could be borrowed for, and how to access information if she or any of her aides weren't around. All of this was quite fascinating to Anakin, and Kenobi took a moment to appreciate Skywalker's first time inside this section of the archives. Well, outside the temple, multiple battles were changing. Jedi were turned on by their clone allies and executed. Thanks to supporting the Bad Batch on Kaller, Tech, Wrecker, and Hunter were able to protect Caleb Dume. His master, on the other hand, not so lucky. Ki-Adi-Mundi on Megiddo was awoken from his sleep by Commander Baccarat, who murdered him. Plo Koon fought against his own men, using electric judgment to protect himself, but eventually falling. The battles were going terribly wrong for the Jedi, but not the clones. Dooku inside the Republic prison complex smiled with anticipation as he felt the swift change in the Force. His former master, across the city, rose from his chair. He could feel the pressure of light falling into darkness. Sidious could not believe it. Dooku had given the Jedi the access codes to destroy themselves. It was brilliant, until of course Commander Fox and his armed shock troopers walked through his door. He was in violation of Executive Order 65 and therefore a traitor of the Republic. Sidious smiled to himself. Tyrannus was a fool for doing this. Fox and his men died almost instantly, as Senate commandos quickly formed the line around the Supreme Chancellor. Blaster fire filled the corridors of the executive structure. Some representatives were killed in the firefight, leaving the building to go into emergency shutdown. A distress signal from a commando unit contacted the Jedi Temple, but it was already too late. With 4 major clone divisions currently on Coruscant, the fate of the capital remained unknown. Half of the 501st and the full power of the Coruscant Guard, 41st Siege Battalion, and 212th were all on the capital planet. Commander Fox's boys were surrounding the executive building, killing anyone who came into their sight with armed resistance. The Senate commandos were not prepared enough for these clones, despite the Guard never seeing actual Clone War conflict. Fox's death was a harsh blow to morale, temporarily, but other members of the shock trooper unit took up the mantle of leadership and called for an all-out strike on the building. This came with LAATs peppering Palpatine's office with missiles, and the Chancellor rushing deeper into the domed building. On the other side of the city, Anakin, who was in the middle of his deep dive with Jocasta and Obi-Wan, felt the temple reverberate. Temple guards rushed out of the archives with Grand Inquisitor trying to get in front of them, assuming that this was the moment he was told to be ready for. Quickly, though, he'd be disarmed by Skywalker and Kenobi, who rushed from the restricted section. In the Great Hall, men of 3 different battalions opened fire on unsuspecting younglings. Due to this attack coming in the middle of the day, the temple was vibrant with life, until that very life was taken from their bodies. Anakin and Obi-Wan tried to figure out what was happening, as the assortment of counselors inside the temple readied themselves for battle. Masters Windu, Yoda, Fisto, Tin, Kolar, Kaj, and T rushed in from different sides to stop the assault. Skywalker and Kenobi were right behind them, swinging their sabers into a defensive perimeter. Without someone to kill the Battle Master in the initial assault, Syndrala got his students out of harm's way, and began activating interior defenses for the ancient structure. Traps had been laid inside the temple, following the sacking of Coruscant thousands of years before, and they were all switched on. Explosives lined the floors where the clones stood, killing nearly thousands of them in one explosive blast. Because the Counselors and Battle Master were able to form a perimeter, mostly by knocking over pillars and destroying stairs, the clones were forced into a kill box. The strategy of taking out a Jedi by surrounding them with 3 or 4 clones wasn't possible, because every time a clone tried to climb one of these fallen pillars, they'd be cut to pieces. Anakin tried to reason with his own men, before getting shot in the shoulder. The worst part is, he wasn't shot because of Order 66. It was a complete misfire by a clone aiming for Master Fisto. Skywalker was not badly wounded by the shot, because it was just a flesh wound on the side of his shoulder, chipping off a little bit of skin. It did, though, give him a chance to see that not even his own men could be reasoned with. But there remained a problem for the Jedi. The Siege Battalion was present, so even with thousands of dead clones lining up the Great Hall, there were other assaults coming from various sides of the temple. Through the hangar bay, a squad of elite troopers in each division piled through, led by Commander Cody. The volunteers and paid workers that maintained the temple were executed on site, with a few Jedi blocking off the exit. Yoda divided up the members of the council, so they could collectively focus on different sections. It'd be impossible for them to survive this assault with all of them here inside the Great Hall. LAATs, just like with the executive structures, were surrounding the temple and firing on it from afar. They ripped through the exterior lining, but never did enough damage to break through. With the council dividing up, the defense line of the Jedi Temple became even thinner. Across the galaxy on 𝙂𝙚, General Grievous received multiple reports. They'd been told to send the Separatist Council to Mustafar, but decided against that. They'd be coming with Coruscant.
I do just.
He already knew, thanks in part to Lord Sidious's briefing, that Dooku had been apprehended by the Coruscant Guard inside a military prison complex. Grievous had just gotten intel from Separatist scouts that the Executive Building and Jedi Temple were under attack from clone troopers, and he contacted Sidious again. The Sith Lord did not respond, and the General of the droid armies and the Confederacy had to make a judgment call. The CIS was losing this war, and had already lost massively at Coruscant, but these reports from around the galaxy were damning. The Jedi were being betrayed by their own men. Even though the Confederacy lost over Coruscant, this was their golden opportunity to make up for such a loss. Grievous prepped his warships, his broken fleet, and the CIS Council for the greatest military risk he ever had to make in his career. Inside the Executive Building, Palpatine ran down corridors before members of the Coruscant Guard blasted a hallway open in front of him. He looked to the Senate Commandos, a unit of 15 that got cut to pieces around him. They fought with all of their training, but it wasn't enough. Sidious, without anyone watching him, fired electricity from his hands, eviscerating all of the clones that surrounded him, though one of them survived, calling into his brothers and informing them that the Chancellor was armed with Jedi powers. At the prison complex where Dooku was held captive, the 4 temple guards were slaughtered after holding off dozens of shock troopers. This fate was met by dozens more Jedi inside their temple. The counselors spread out, but 3 full divisions of clones were still too much. Masters Windu and Fisto held off the hangar bay, eventually killing Commander Cody in a tense standoff, before being pushed from their position. After several minutes of blasting inside of the temple, the structure started to peel apart, giving the gunships a chance to splash fire into the hallways, engulfing Jedi in a painful scorching abyss. Master Yoda continued to manipulate the Force to drop thousands of pounds of debris onto the attacking clone forces. The defense was incredible, it just never could last. It was an impossible stronghold to defend. Thanks to so many clones attacking, the Jedi weren't able to ferry their young through any secret access ports. The 212th, 501st, and 41st surrounded the entire structure, so when these younglings started breaking out, they were slaughtered, giving the clones another access point into the rear end of the Jedi Temple, resulting in the deaths of Coleman Kaj, Terra Sanube, and Jocasta Nu. The clones were vicious killers, Commander Appo had a standoff with General Skywalker before losing his life to a forced choke, which ended up saving a few younglings, including Reva. Though it did become abundantly clear that the unarmed younglings were easy pickings, and the Jedi that went out of their way to protect them ended up causing even more deaths. It was terrible for the Jedi and for the clones. With the full Temple Guard unit activated, a victory for either side would result in immense loss of life. 2 of the 3 attacking commanders were already dead, leaving way for the Jedi to try and make another attempt at escaping, but that failed as well. Hours of siege left the temple looking deformed and forcing smoke to billow out of the structure. Across the city, Padme worried about her husband. She, from her Senate office, also watched the executive building burn up in a blaze of fire. Palpatine inside, still alive, slipped between corridors, ducking and avoiding clones. He ripped through them with saber and force. He was impossible to bring down, but gunships, missiles, and beam cannons eventually forced him off of one of his legs. Amputated by the clones, his death would come excruciatingly. He'd fight to the bitter end, killing every clone in his path, pulling gunships into the executive structure, accessing his fullest potential, and fighting with everything. But it was never enough. The Coruscant Guard had to call in reinforcements from clones across the city, which is what inevitably brought Palpatine to his death. Though that really was the beginning of the problems for the Republic. With dusk falling on the capital city, and the temple slowly becoming a lost cause, everything got worse, with hundreds of Jedi lying dead across the halls, another half of the Temple Guard unit killed, half the council murdered in their own home. The Separatists arrived. The clones were so focused on their attacks that the Republic fleet above, which had been dispersed for the finalization of the Outer Rim sieges, was blindsided. Venators still undergoing repairs and maintenance were clobbered by heavy cannons of functional cruisers and frigates. General Grievous, using a modified recusant destroyer, led his military into what he believed to be their great triumph. The Jedi, with more than half of their fighting force dead inside the walls of the temple, retreated from their home. The attack of the Separatist fleet provided them enough room to regather and
I love listening to fan Star Wars fan stories or like fan theories and say, oh, what if this happened, or what if this didn't happen, and yeah.
forced their way out into the city streets. Of course, during their escape, they would see the terror of their labor. So many of the younglings saved by Anakin or Windu or Yoda were dead in the exit. The surviving counselors went with Grand Master, Master of the Order, Kolar, Kenobi, and Skywalker. Everyone else had mostly been killed, with a total of well over 400 Jedi escaping the temple grounds. Thanks to the Confederacy, their order could survive. The few skirmishes they faced on the outside of the temple dropped their numbers by dozens. The Jedi were exhausted, and the clones, similar to the droid army, continued to bring more forces, which broke the Jedi down eventually. Luckily, they still had something. Anakin got himself a moment to inform Padme, privately, that he had survived, but they were on the run. She told him that she was okay and incentivized him to worry about the Jedi and their survival, because she'd be fine and he needn't worry about anything else but himself. This was a direct response to his nightmares from the previous night, intended to ease his mind. Over Coruscant, 2 fleets continued to bash away at one another, but instead of Republic reinforcements coming to save the day, with blinding counterattacks, the Separatists, with a completely different strategy under Grievous, blitzed the Republic defense line. It was Dooku's orders that led to the direct failure of the previous attack, because Sidious requested it. Now, with Grievous properly leading the way, he was able to manage a total triumph over the Republic fleet, mostly because he rushed them. Unfortunately, a majority of the Separatist ground force did not survive the previous attack, so the fleet pushed for the capital city. Grievous demanded an all-out surrender, but the clones refused, sending gunships and fighters into the air to destroy the droid general. Inversely, Senator Amidala's district came under direct fire. If it were not for Jar Jar Binks and his representative vessel, Padme would have been killed. The Silver Starship pulled through the industrial sector before retreating from the planet. Padme again sent a transmission, informing her husband that she had survived and would be okay, thanks to Jar Jar getting her off the planet. She felt bad for leaving Anakin behind, but she couldn't do anything about that. He was with the Jedi, hiding wherever they were, and it'd be worse to pick up a few survivors while leaving the rest to die on Coruscant. Padme wouldn't be in the city to see it, but the capital and its leadership fell under the control of General Grievous. Dooku would be freed, Order 66 both a success and a failure, and the Republic left to determine its place in the war now. It was kind of a weird checkmate. By Grievous abandoning Utapau and thus the Outer Rim entirely, the Republic was technically poised to win the war. They were simply now without their capital. The Jedi weren't going to be a problem, and the only real remaining threat in the core had to come from the other core systems. So Grievous and Dooku had some odd choices to make. Raxus wasn't undefended, but it wouldn't last forever. And the only real leverage the Separatists had was their ability to murder 3 trillion people and execute all of Republic leadership. However, all that leverage would come to an end once they killed them off. There was a plus side that Dooku knew about too. The clones, with the executive orders activated, would go into a sort of drone mode. It was created to last for a couple of months, where the free thinking of the clone army would be taken from it. It was like a factory reset for the clones. They were still talented and trained killers, but most of their experience and triumph through war, which came from outside-the-box thinking, would be impossible to come by now. The Separatists technically won the war by seizing the capital, but the Republic also technically won the war by winning all the battles. The one downside to Grievous's decision to bring the Separatist Council with him to Coruscant is that no one could go to Mustafar and activate the reserve fleet and military. As Grievous said to Tyrannus, he only brought them because if he needed leverage, he would use them for it. It made Dooku laugh because they were pretty much cannon fodder to him too, but they also kind of needed them to be anything more than that right now. After all the chaos came the silence. It was the tragedy of war, and the irony of its result. The Confederacy technically held all the cards, but the problem is, the clones were not bound to the senators that Dooku and Grievous threatened. The clones were fighting for the Republic, and because Palpatine was no longer in the picture thanks to Order 65, it was the concept of the government. War continued in the Outer Rim with the sieges, and Grievous murdered senators that aligned with Palpatine's caucus. The hope with this strategy was for a Republic that would be less temperamental once brought to the discussion stage with the CIS, but after just a week of threats and a few senators executed from Palpatine's side, a hope for that came to an end, when the Republic attacked Raxus with brand new Star Destroyers from the Kusat drive yards. It would be an intense firefight in space, but result with each enemy military apprehending their opponent's government. The threats on both governments would be the same for both sides, with skirmishes and battles being waged throughout the rims. Neither side had any true leverage, and Dooku tried getting commando droids through the established Republic blockade over Coruscant to Mustafar, and it never worked. The clones eventually discovered the reserve military, leading to its imminent destruction. That led to nothing but continuous bickering over holograms, ironically. Dooku and Grievous decided at a certain point, following the fall of Raxus, to make this all about themselves. Discussions were held, arguments followed, people got angry, and then they were forced to start again. Because the war had ravaged through the galaxy, and the leaders of both governments were killed by their opposing armies or captured, the talks became freedom for Dooku and Grievous exclusively, no one else. Tyrannus tried to save the galaxy and instead made it 10 times worse than it ever could have been. Trillions of lives, generations of trauma, and decades of reconstruction were on his hands. Well, not literally because he didn't have them, but still, he felt terrible. He had failed the galaxy, and now, he just wished to remain at peace. Grievous didn't want to give up, but they really had no other choice. They had their military over Coruscant, which constantly threatened the trillions of lives, and the Republic wasn't going to attack them because of that. The Republic had enough resources to blockade them and continue fighting the war in the Outer Rim, but that didn't really change anything. After the first Battle of Coruscant, it was really just a matter of time until the Separatists crumbled, and that was now 4 months after Orders 65 and 66. Dooku and Grievous, as a result of their holdout, were given pardons, but forced to live on a small moon with a resort. It wasn't exactly punishment, but it forced them from the public eye, allowing the reforming governments of Republic, Confederacy, and Neutral Coalition to say that the warmongers were gone. The Jedi were removed from the clone hit list, and the people wondered where they may have actually gone. It would become part of an urban legend surrounding the Clone War. that being the fate of the Jedi Order, a sect of magical sages that manipulated the very air, all disappearing overnight. That last night that Skywalker talked to Padme was the last time people ever saw the Jedi, mostly due to the attack of the Separatists and the blockade over Coruscant. Anakin would help his peers off of the capital world and to their new homeworld inside the Lothal system. He'd stay around to watch over the young and guide Ahsoka to them, before disappearing and reuniting with Padme, who had already long since given birth to Luke and Leia. Their relationship would pick up from there. Master Skywalker was no more. The torture of what Order 66 brought him mentally kept him away from the Jedi. He felt like a failure, and the sheer amount of trauma from the PTSD of Order 66 left him unable to be around the Jedi ever again. He would still maintain relationships with Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Yoda, but never go to visit them. He instead would focus on his family. Padme would do the same, removing herself from the newly forming government. Dooku would never see it, and that was his penance, but in the decades following the Clone Wars, the new system, born from chaos, would be stronger than the Republic ever could be. Having learned from war, loss, and terror, the new government sought to right the wrongs of past generations. However, it should be said that thanks to Dooku and Grievous, the least agreeable of the Old Republic, those being Palpatine loyalists, were dead, leaving individuals that championed compromise and resolution as the figureheads of a new body. The Jedi may have been traumatized and may have faded into urban legend, but their presence would continue to change lives. They would start small, with their order of only 500 or so, that being survivors from all around the galaxy gathered on Lothal. They would never politicize themselves ever again, and remain a part of that urban legend, the unsung heroes of the Reconstruction era in the footnotes of galactic history. And that, my friends, is my chaotic, neutral story. Special thanks to the patrons for supporting the channel. Smash that like button.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so I like that a lot. It was interesting. So Padme's alive. That's good. Unfortunate Jedi are still end up going hiding. Anakin is still Jedi, which is actually very good. Although I wish there was a little more to the story, but oh, what can you do? What can you really do? Pardon? Oh yeah. I don't know when it updated, but my browser is just slow. Ooh, songs. Ooh, MASH. We gotta watch that one. Oh my god, Plans Awaken? When is that? That is the 22nd. That is literally tomorrow at 3 p.m. at my time. Then you just okay, so Dildos yes info. Alright. Let's fucking go! Also, I must say, all of my Blitzies are cute. I said it. All of you are cute. If things will load. Don't worry, it'll take like what? 5 to 7 business days for the page to load. Instead of you would never download a car, you would never download, right?
Huh? Where am I? Are you me? Something really
Okay, let's do 480.
wrong is happening here. What? You think we're like... dead? We've got to get out of here. There must be a way. Did someone bring their setup? Just make it stop! Make it stop.
Yeah, we've seen enough gruesome death for the day.
No! Wait! If this screen has a signal to the living world, then there has to be a way to contact him, to help him. This is how we can keep him alive!
Ooh, okay. Let's go.
So, what if we... What? Huh, what do you know? Only wish I had some... Okay, plan B.
Oh my god, no.
This is weird. Sonic, look out for that!
Oh, that was cute. Oh, it's so high pitched that you didn't hear them actually swear without swear uncensored.
Must be a way we can get him to listen. Is he gonna be okay? That's it! We act like chickens? No, we...
Here, there's a spot bed. You need to go down.
Yes! Where am I? You're dead, but don't worry. We've got a plan. Tell us everything you remember. Middle, energy balls come down. Big gap, hit egg nuts in the noggin. Ha! Those monitors were right about everything. Come on, dude, at least make this interesting.
Would it interest you to be tenderized into a blue pulp?
Nice.
Ah! He did it! He actually beat him! Yeah! Hey, watch the claw. We all did it. Hopefully now we can finally relax.
Sonic 2?
What's this mean? I don't know. Though I've got a feeling we're far from done here. Who's that orange dude?
Oh no. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is this gonna briefly go through the entirety of Sonic's history? Holy shit.
Okay, good. It says you should be en route to the reactor nucleus.
Got it. Hey, so, out of curiosity, does your thingy say anything about careening towards a diverging path? Buddy? Hello? Which way is the core? Left or right? What did that TV say? God, they're so cryptic. Just gonna go with my gut on this one.
Ooh.
So what? Like, we're just gonna watch the same mistake over and over again? Is this the reactor nucleus? No, dude, it's not the... Left! Go left! Nothing's changing! What'd that TV say? Left! Huh? What was that? Hello? Huh? On this one. No, something changed. What changed? What did you hear? Where am I? What? Hear what? Us! We were all shouting and you reacted! You heard us! I heard left. I mean, I thought I did. In my head. That was you? In your head? I mean, we are all the same person. Maybe when we shout all at once, that's it. Everyone! We have to speak in unison! We'll shout left on my mark. Ready? Left or right? What'd that TV say? Now! Left! Go! No sweat.
No way. No fucking way. Hold on. Wait. I have no idea what to expect from this. But this story just got a whole lot more interesting. So, based on off of what you saw, I think this is gonna be this is currently Adventure Sonic. And I'm guessing that they're gonna be doing the entire, like, at least the mainline games. They're gonna be doing all the mainline games for Sonic, and then holy shit, this is gonna be interesting. All right, hold on. There we go. Pardon? Yeah, you didn't hear me burp a lot. I had some chips. All right, there we go.
Hello everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. He wanted to see if his dad knew how to move the money without the bottle falling over.
Oh my god. That is smart, and also the dad looks disappointed.
This guy might
Lol.
actually be a real-life anime character.
Oh my god. All those
So
crows.
I guess wolves know how to fish now. They are learning to pull in these crab traps that have been set by fishermen.
Ooh. Oh, that's so cute. What the fuck? I kinda stuck with that.
She's been trying to catch his mouse for the past few days.
Past few days. That mouse is smart. He is smart. He's smart. He is smart. Is she okay? And holy shit, the amount of house code violations is there. But also, how the fuck do you... what? How is that structure? How is it that been so... Oh, the structure, the overall structure must have been weak in the span of like years.
I guess building a store over the water like this wasn't a great idea.
You think? Yeah, you think. You didn't think. Well.
This guy was flying a kite that was just a little too big.
Oh my god, he's being dragged. He's being dragged. Jesus Christ. Oh no. He's being dragged too. Hello. Oh. Careful.
Hello.
Careful. Hmm. Is this a sign that Caucasians are going extinct? What the fuck? Lol. That's funny.
Look what I just found. A school of fish.
Lol.
A school of goldfish.
That's cool. That's funny.
excuse me. We're looking for Lodge 91. Which way do we go? All right, thanks.
Lol. He wants uppies. He wants uppies! Give him uppies!
This worker looked like he was floating while cleaning the glass at this museum.
That worker is Jesus. I see the glass briefly. But yeah, I see the black glass there, but that worker is Jesus. That's another incident of the structure was weakened over the years. It's a good thing I was taught to do mandatory maintenance pretty much like every few months or at least once a year. Cause this shit will this shit, if you don't take care of your house, this shit will happen. So yeah.
Hey, are you okay?
I had no idea that lizards could squeak like this.
Aww.
Look at my bite.
He has dog jaw.
Lol.
Look, can you touch it? It looks red. Nana, touch it.
Okay, that was funny. That's a funny joke. Dog drum. Oh, I just came up with a joke. So joke is you chat, do you like hot dogs? Cause you'll be hot dogging these nuts. Aww. Aww. Little dog, big stick.
I guess I somehow never showed this ancient video of a chicken falling asleep.
Aww. Aww. He's asleep.
The driver had no idea that their trunk opened up.
No.
This construction worker was trapped on the roof of a burning building when he got saved.
Did he actually hit the button to open the trunk? Maybe that. But if it opened by itself without touching any buttons, then the manufacturer needs some explaining to do.
Saved.
What was it?
He was trapped on the roof of a burning building when he got saved.
Burning building. That's he was climbing construction building. Building under construction. Holy shit. Oh, those are apartments.
And wouldn't slow. This truck driver was trying to escape from the police and wouldn't slow down for anything.
What the fuck? What happened? Did he like run someone off the road and cops saw it, or what happened? What the fuck? Nah, that trucker's wild. This is why I okay, so chat, whenever I drive anywhere, or I am scared of truckers. Like, they can easily just fucking crush you to death, basically. And I think it was one of my siblings who usually has to drive on the highway to work. They almost got ran off the road by a trucker, and luckily she has a dash cam and she shared the footage with the police, and yeah, holy shit. This is why whenever like I need to pass someone, or if I see a semi truck that's in front of me or in front of a couple cars, I go into the passing lane and book it ahead of the semi truck, because I don't want to be behind that shit. And when it comes to like construction vehicles, I try to avoid being in the same lane as it, because I got my windshield cracked. It's not badly cracked, it's like the type of crack was just one seamless line going across the windshield. But yeah, dude, yeah, my windshield is cracked and don't have the money to fix it right now. So dumb. Oh no. Lol. Skill issue. Aw. I used to play ball with my childhood dog like this. Well, she was my dog so like you know, she used her paw she used her paws to throw the ball back to me. It's really cute. I miss her. Oh. Oh. The dog was so scared. Oh no! It's like, do you have another ball? Is there another ball?
Okay, man, you're just being so slow. Dude, I've been trying this entire time. Just not my fault, okay?
Oh. Holy shit! Holy shit! Thank you, Megadoom, for following. Welcome. How are you today? Holy shit! He just picked the board and the guy. Oh. Okay. So, I approve of that. That's a fucking power move there. That's a fucking power move. Oh no. Oh no. Aww. You didn't see the key. Oh, deja vu. Lol.
He didn't realize that he was right next to a bomb.
Babies laugh at the weirdest things. It's so adorable.
Cat until it was too late.
What was it?
He didn't realize that he was right next to a bobcat until it was too late.
Oh no. Aww.
This baby is only 2 years old and is better at pool than you.
Aww. Aww.
Dizzy.
I think it was when I was younger, when I was I don't know, 12, 13, I don't fucking know. I taught my little sister how to play video games. Nowadays she pretty much beats me at, I think she likes to play shooter games. I like to play racing games, so she beats me in shooter games, I beat her in racing games.
VTuber decided to make an electric piano.
Ooh. Okay, that's cool. That's fucking cool. That's
so
fucking
why is
cool.
this so satisfying to watch?
Does anyone remember that vacuum thing SpongeBob from the Teletubbies? Yeah, that reminds you of that. Chat, would this be the most powerful blowjob you'll ever get? I say that loud. It's like, Twitch, I promise I'm a good girl. Also, this like, holy shit, the suction power of that. Also, YouTube, please don't ban me, please, please. But also, the suction power of that. Holy shit. Also, like, it's very late in the night for me, so my filter, I'm struggling with my brain filter right now. Holy shit, the suction power of that. Chat, your wildest dreams can come true. Chat, your wildest dreams can come true. Oh no. Oh no, he's gonna fall.
Oh god, Oliver, be strong. Babe.
Oh no.
I'm just here to check in for my appointment.
Oh.
This artist can make 2 different drawings at the same time.
Oh, that's a power move. I wish I could learn to do that. This guy right here is using 100% of his brain power. He's 100% of his brain.
I think this guy thinks that he's an electric toothbrush.
What the fuck?
Hey.
Aww.
Well, what are you yelling at me for?
That is the end of this.
And he hasn't even blamed his owner. That's fucking funny.
Video. We hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon.
Later. Ooh, okay.
A small but
I am very addicted to space, to science and space, even since I was a kid. So
incredibly fast, unwanted guest is about to swing
why is the Earth made of jello?
past Earth at the speed of light. Yeah, this is the tiniest black hole in the universe. But despite its small size, could it still rip our planet apart? It's a massive, stupendously large black hole. For you, on Earth, things are about to get bad. Okay, black holes come in all sizes. Most of them are called stellar mass black holes.
Yes, black holes do come in all sizes. Wink.
Because, well, they're born when a massive star, at least 8 times heavier than our sun, collapses and becomes a tiny but very dense black hole. This is 𝙂𝙗𝙂𝙗, and it's the closest black hole to us.
Wait a minute. Hold on. For Sonic Unleashed, is that where Dark Gaia was inspired by? This black hole here?
Just 1,560 light years away. This black hole is almost 10 times as massive as our sun, but it's small. Its event horizon is only 59 kilometers wide. That's 37 miles. And we'll send it our way in a minute, but for now, let's talk about black holes that nobody has ever observed before. Yeah, some black holes are incredibly tiny, but to see those, we'd have to go back to the very first moments after the Big Bang, when our universe exploded from a singularity. 13.8 billion years ago.
Ooh.
This is a time when tiny black holes popped up before any galaxies or planets even had time to form. The scientists call these primordial black holes. We've never observed them to confirm their existence, either because these black holes are too tiny for us to detect or because most of them have evaporated by now. But we theorize that these tiny, dense pockets of gravity existed a long, long time ago. What's interesting about these primordial black holes is that they could be as tiny as 1 femtometer in size. But even then, they'd weigh as
Femtometer? Okay, I don't know how to measure that. But it also sounds gay.
much as a mountain. Now, for our story, we'll start with a black hole a bit larger, with the exact same mass as Earth. Of course, Earth didn't exist at the same time as one of these black holes might have, but we here at What If, well, we like to imagine hypothetical scenarios, as you may have noticed.
Yeah.
And in this hypothetical, a black hole just as massive as Earth is about to hit us. Only you wouldn't see it coming because it would be tiny. So we'll make it larger for the sake of visuals, but in reality, a black hole of this mass would have an event horizon of just under 2 centimeters, 3/4 of an inch wide. Smaller than a coin, but with the gravity of our entire planet. It would fly by Earth like a bullet, and it would only take 0.04 seconds to do so. Depending on how close to Earth it passed, this tiny visitor could cause devastating effects.
Oh.
With this much gravity, it would pull on different parts of the Earth with different strengths. The side of the Earth facing it would be stretched more strongly than the far side. These tidal forces would put a lot of strain on Earth's crust. Even if it didn't go through Earth, but just near it, this tiny black hole could set off tsunamis, earthquakes, and volcanoes all over the planet. And worse than that, this black hole would yank Earth out of its usual orbit. Yeah, our planet could go on a wild ride a little closer to the sun. And if it did, Earth would face extreme climate change, and fast. Or we could go the other way and move closer to Mars. Now, if Earth left the habitable zone of our sun, things down here would get very cold.
Yeah, very cold.
Fast.
Yeah.
But what if this black hole didn't just pass by Earth, but passed through it? Well, it would be like piercing our planet with an extremely fast and massive needle. The black hole would create a narrow tunnel that would go all the way through our planet. Anything in its vicinity would be stretched and torn by tidal forces, or spaghettified. Massive earthquakes would ripple through the entire planet in seconds. Fault lines on the other side of the world would slip. Entire tectonic plates could shift. This wouldn't be a local earthquake. It'd be the crust cracking everywhere at once.
Ooh.
Being on Earth for this would be horrifying, and you wouldn't even know why things were going south, because if you remember, you wouldn't see this black hole coming. While the planet's crust is tearing itself apart, well, your digital world might be under a different kind of threat. Alright, with your privacy secured and your VPN running, let's move on to a more crushing black hole. A stellar mass black hole.
Ooh,
as
let's go.
As 10 suns. Okay, despite weighing 10 times more than our sun, it would only be
your mom weighs more than that, you know.
About 59 kilometers wide. That's 37 miles. It's less than the distance you drive in under an hour on the highway. But that tiny shadow packs gravity strong enough to shred planets. From the moment this black hole entered the outer region of our solar system, Kuiper Belt, you'd only have about 5.5 hours until total chaos. In 4 hours and 50 minutes, astronomers would see its effects on Jupiter. Now, while the black hole wouldn't strip gas from the giant planet unless it passed extremely close, well, we might detect unusual gravitational anomalies around it. Jupiter would likely experience tidal disruption if the black hole came close, but luckily for this gas giant, no gas would spiral into its accretion disk. That's because the black hole would be moving too fast for that. Another 30 minutes later, Mars would be dangerously close to the black hole's gravitational grip. Now, Mars wouldn't disappear into the black hole unless it was directly in its path. More likely, it would be torn apart by tidal forces or flung out of its orbit. Suddenly, things would start to feel off. Even without light, the black hole's presence would distort the night sky. Stars might appear to swirl around it. This effect is called gravitational lensing, but you'd need a powerful telescope to see it because this black hole is still pretty small in size. At this point, you'd feel like the ground was shifting underneath you. That's not your imagination. It's Earth slightly stretching toward the black hole as its gravity pulls on one side harder than the other. Seconds later, things would get violent. The planet would crack across continents. Tides would surge violently, not from the wind or the moon's pull, but from pure gravity. Earthquakes would erupt everywhere at once. Everything would be shaking, cracking, and ripping apart. During this violent event, Earth might lose the moon if its orbit became too unstable. But our planet would survive. It'd be stretched and damaged, and it would take a long time to recover, but still, it wouldn't become one with the black hole. Not yet.
Yeesh.
But it could get worse. If this light speed traveling thing wasn't just a flyby, but actually on a collision course with our planet, you wouldn't stand a chance of surviving.
Oh no.
In an instant, the black hole would rip through our planet like a bullet. Only this is a bullet that weighs as much as 10 suns, and it would be moving at 300,000 kilometers per second, 186,000 miles. The moment it hit us, the crust, the mantle, the core, everything would be pulled inward. The black hole would shred Earth with tidal forces stronger than anything you've ever experienced. And then, just 0.04 seconds later, it would tear out the other side, leaving behind a tunnel of superheated, collapsing matter. Shockwaves would ripple around the globe, oceans would boil, and the atmosphere would ignite. Entire continents would crack and collapse. Earth wouldn't be swallowed whole. It would be ruptured, deformed, and left bleeding debris out into space. And the black hole, it wouldn't even slow down. Okay, now, how about another type of black hole? An intermediate mass one. These monstrosities are far more rare, or at least harder to detect. We've found hundreds of stellar black holes, but only a few solid candidates for intermediate mass black holes. These aren't as small as stellar mass black holes formed from dying stars, and not as enormous as the supermassive giants in the centers of galaxies. These types of black holes weigh between a few hundred and a few 100,000 times the mass of our sun. And scientists think they form when stellar mass black holes collide and merge into a more massive black hole. Now, a black hole 1,000 times more massive than our sun would be catastrophic. Like any other black hole in this scenario, really. Black holes are bad for you if they come too close, and this one would be devastating. Imagine a black hole 1,000 times more massive than our sun rampaging through the solar system. This monstrosity would have a more substantial size, too, packing all its mass into a beast about half the size of Earth. As it came close to Earth, just like all the other black holes on our list, it would start tearing the Earth apart with its enormous gravity. On top of the regular mix of volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, this monstrosity would tug Earth closer, swallowing chunks of it as it passed by. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it would pass, leaving Earth with a tilted axis, an unstable orbit, and a civilization collapsing in slow motion. And as always,
nobody would survive
if this intermediate mass black hole were on a direct course through our planet. It wouldn't collide with Earth like a rock. It would just replace the space where Earth used to be, all within a fraction of a second. Earth would start to collapse inward before the black hole even touched our surface. Rocks would lift, and the ground would curve. Time itself starts to come to a standstill near the event horizon. And then comes the breach. The black hole would swallow the planet. Earth would be gone in an instant. Cities wouldn't even have time to burn. They would just stretch and vanish. The black hole would leave a collapsing, molten tunnel through Earth. With the planet's core completely gone, Earth would keep collapsing in on itself, but so fast that you wouldn't even have time to blink. Scary, but that wasn't even the worst of the black holes.
Is there something worse?
Phoenix A star, the baddest, most massive black hole we've ever laid eyes on. This stupendously large black hole has a mass of 100 billion suns. Its event horizon stretches 590 billion kilometers. Just so you can picture the sheer size of this gigantic cosmic death trap, it's 100 times wider than the distance from Pluto to the Sun. Yeah, and it would swallow all planets in our solar system like they were nothing. At first, without warning, strange distortions would appear in the sky. That's gravitational lensing from the most massive black hole in the observable universe. Phoenix A star's titanic gravity would be warping the fabric of space around it. Even before this monstrosity passed through the Kuiper Belt and the outer regions of our solar system, every planet in the neighborhood would feel its galactic presence. Neptune and Uranus would start to drift off their orbits, and a few hours later, the inner planets would get massively disturbed too. Earth's path around the sun would begin to deform under the overwhelming tug of Phoenix A star. By the time you understood what was happening, the flyby would become imminent. Phoenix A star would be approaching Earth at the speed of light. The oceans facing the black hole bulge upward, drawn by its monstrous gravity. Even though the beast would still be unbelievably far out, our tides would grow beyond anything in recorded history. They would flood everything. As Phoenix A star pulled on our planet, the atmosphere wouldn't be able to hold on. Supersonic winds would tear across every continent, and above you, satellites and debris would light up the sky, dragged from orbit like falling stars. Even the International Space Station would plunge into a death spiral it was never built to survive. At its closest pass, Phoenix A star would tear past Earth at the speed of light. For a few seconds, its gravity would overpower the sun's. Earth's orbit would shatter and our planet would be flung out into space. Here on Earth, it would feel as if gravity disappeared for a moment. Everything would lift. People, cars, buildings, and then when it was gone, everything would be caught in a sudden freefall. Now, the Earth's crust couldn't handle such an intense gravitational pull. The planet would erupt in earthquakes and volcanoes, rupturing everywhere. And then, after just 0.04 seconds, just as quickly as it came, Phoenix A star would race onward. In a flash, this immense black disk would start disappearing from view, leaving a distorted star field to gradually return to normal. But the havoc would remain. In its blistering flyby, Phoenix A star would permanently alter the solar system, even our sun. Every piece of rock would be launched out of orbit, ejected on the path to interstellar space. Whatever remained of Earth would become a rogue planet, drifting through space, not bound to any star.
Yeah.
In this brief catastrophic encounter, the human toll would be incalculable. Our entire civilization would be left to die. Most coastal cities would become underwater ruins. Inland areas would deal with earthquakes, fires, and storms. It would be the end of the world for you.
Ooh.
Even if, by some miracle, pockets of humanity survived the 40 milliseconds of chaos, face an
all chatters are there. All blitzies are here. Remember to follow.
existential challenge adapting to a planet that's drifting toward deep freeze in outer space. So, yeah, black holes suck.
Yeah.
They destroy everything they touch, and falling into a black hole, even for a nanosecond, would be lethal for you. But that's a story for another What If.
Ooh.
Now, don't forget to click.
It's not just a theory, it's a space theory.
Hello. Our story begins with the funeral following the Battle of Hypnosis.
I really want. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. Not sitting through another 45-minute video. Alright. Come on. Load up. I wonder what we can get on our feed. Recommendations. Ooh, I haven't seen Sunfire in a long time, but yeah. DoorDash. Alright. Yeah, DoorDash really just brought back slavery. Alright, Roy Reed. Yeah. Alright, let's just win. Okay, come on. Load up. Alright, chat, let's see here. So I did my injection today. Okay, so chatter, blitzies, who are new here. I'm not sure if you've already seen all the tags, but I'm trans. That's not new. That's not new. I literally don't know what to say. While YouTube is loading.
Iraq war veteran James Hackamer had survived a landmine explosion, spent 6 weeks in a coma, and endured several clinical deaths. For him, a ride on Darien Lake's Ride of Steel was more than a thrill. It was a step back toward feeling alive again. But only minutes after the coaster began its climb, James would once again find himself on the edge of death. Today I'll tell you about 5 incidents when an amusement park turned, in an instant, into a park of horrors.
Chat, chat, I have a question. What if Shadow the Hedgehog, was a different kind of edgelord? What is the Lord of Edging?
But always, viewer discretion is advised. 1. James Hackamer. On Friday, July 8th, 2011, James Hackamer had one goal in mind: to ride every roller coaster at Darien Lake Theme Park in New York. surrounded by his sister, nephew, and 2 little daughters, Callie and Mackenzie. He was energetic and full of life, different from other visitors only by the wheelchair beneath him. In 2008, in Iraq, his armored vehicle hit a landmine. The explosion tore off both his legs and damaged his internal organs. Despite 2 cardiac arrests and 6 weeks in a coma, James survived, learned to walk on prosthetics, and became a symbol of strength among wounded veterans. He often said, "I lost my legs, but not my life." That day he chose the Ride of Steel, the park's tallest coaster, standing 63 meters high. With help from his...
I heard of the story. Honestly, the literal federal law for this is you cannot let any double amputees ride any roller coasters, and they got hit with a heavy fine.
Nephew and park staff, James transferred from his wheelchair into the front car. The operator pulled down the metal lap bar until it clicked in place. It was designed to lock across the rider's thighs and waist. But since James had no legs, it didn't secure him properly. He noticed it and asked if everything was safe. The operator replied, "1 click is enough." The train began its climb from the very top. As the coaster rose toward the second hill, about 45 meters high, a sudden gust of wind blew his cap away. He reached for it. Himself, James slipped under the lap bar. Witnesses saw him lift from his seat, strike the front of the train, and disappear beneath the track. Within a minute, paramedics found him on the grass below. The impact had caused a traumatic brain injury, multiple fractures, and massive internal damage. Injuries no one could survive. Witnesses told police the same thing again and again. His hat flew off, he reached for it, and then he was gone. Investigators confirmed the ride was mechanically sound. The failure was human. At the entrance of Ride of Steel, a sign clearly read, "No riders without 2 legs." Yet the operator who ignored that warning was never held accountable. The only justice the family received was a 7-figure settlement, money that went towards securing the future of James.
Yeah, the employee, even though the employee was never charged, the employee was definitely fired. Was definitely fired and blacklisted.
James's 2 daughters. After the tragedy, his sister said quietly, "They told us he wouldn't survive the war, but he lived 3 more years. Those 3 years were a blessing." Some rides are truly unsafe for people with amputations, but sometimes even an ordinary person is never completely safe once the ride begins.
You know, even though it's rare for roller coaster accidents to happen nowadays, I'm so petrified of roller coasters. And it doesn't help the fact that I do have acrophobia, which is basically fear of heights. I am afraid of heights. And it doesn't help the fact that I'm cat girl.
2. Rosa Esparza. On July 19, 2013, 52-year-old Rosa Esparza arrived at Six Flags over Texas with her family, hoping for a simple day away from everyday worries. They made their way toward the park's tallest attraction, the Texas Giant, a hybrid steel and wood coaster rising more than 45 meters into the air. On the loading platform, Rosa took a seat on the 3rd row while her family sat near the front. When the operator lowered the lap bar, Rosa hesitated. At just about 1 meter 57 tall and weighing a little over 90 kilograms, she felt the bar didn't press tightly enough against her body. "It's not fully closed," she said quietly. The operator leaned in, checked the lock, and repeated the notorious line, "1 click is safe." In 2013, the Texas Giant had no seatbelts, only the single lap bar. Rosa had no choice but to trust him. As the train climbed the 45-meter hill, Rosa smiled at the view while her daughter and son-in-law waved from the front row. At the top, the cars plunged forward, accelerating to over 100 kilometers per hour. Passengers later recalled seeing Rosa bracing herself, pushing hard against the seat. But the force of the drop lifted her free. She screamed as her body was thrown from the car, struck a steel beam, and fell nearly 23 meters onto a metal roof below. Her family saw it happen.
Again, the employee was fired.
And screamed, begging for the ride to stop. Paramedics quickly climbed onto the tunnel roof. Even they, people who had seen countless injuries, could hardly believe what they were looking at. The impact was so powerful, it had nearly torn Rosa's body in half. The next day, flowers and candles covered the park's entrance. One sign read, "Safe rides are not a privilege." The investigation confirmed what many feared. The single lap bar was never designed to secure shorter or heavier riders. The Texas Giant remained closed for weeks while the park installed additional seatbelts, new waist restraints, and test seats at the platform so visitors could check their fit before boarding. The case was settled quietly out of court. The family received an undisclosed compensation, though reports suggested several $1 million, but no amount could replace a mother who simply came to spend a happy day at the park. But sometimes even a water slide can become a killer when the attraction's
action park
ambition goes too far. 3. Caleb Schwab. On Sunday, August 7th, 2016, the Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City hosted a special event known as Legislators Day, meaning it was reserved for families of state legislators. And among the guests were the Representative Scott Schwab and his wife and their 4 sons. From below, they watched in awe as the park's main attraction towered above them. VODs, the insane one. Standing 51 meters tall, higher than Niagara Falls, it held the record as the tallest water slide in the world. That record was all 10-year-old Caleb Schwab could think about. While his parents waited at the bottom, Caleb and his brother began the long climb to the top. At the launch platform, an operator explained that each raft needed exactly 3 riders to stay balanced and that 2 children couldn't ride together. Caleb's brother stepped aside to wait for the next run while Caleb took the front seat with 2 women behind him. The operator checked their straps, made sure everyone was gripping the handles, and
the child should have been in the middle, not in the front. That's the mistake that the employee made.
Signaled for release. The raft dropped into its first plunge, accelerating to 110 kilometers per hour. According to the design, it was supposed to slow slightly on the second rise before gliding to the finish, but something went wrong. The weight in the raft wasn't evenly distributed. Caleb, who weighed just 34 kilograms, sat in the front, while the 2 women behind him together weighed over 200. The center of mass considerably shifted backwards, lifting the nose of the raft into the air. Now, a safety net covered the entire length of the chute, supported by metal hoops meant to catch loose objects, but not people. As the raft hit the crest of the second hill, it went airborne and slammed into one of the hoops. The metal bar caught Caleb's head, cutting through his neck and instantly decapitating him. When the raft came crashing back into the water, the 2 women were alive, but covered in blood. One had a broken jaw. The other suffered multiple facial fractures. Around the pool, panic erupted. People screamed. Caleb's parents ran toward the slide, and his brother stood frozen, whispering. He just flew off. The park shut down that same day. Investigators soon discovered that at least 13 riders had been injured on VODs before the accident. But management had ignored every warning. What's even more infuriating, the slide's lead designer had no formal engineering degree or state certification required for high-intensity rides. And testing had been done without official oversight. The park's owners and designers were charged with involuntary manslaughter, but the case was dismissed in 2019. The Schwab family received more than $20 million in settlements, one of the largest ever awarded for an amusement park ride death. VODs was dismantled in 2018, and 3 years later, the park itself was leveled. Caleb Schwab's story remains a painful reminder of what happens when thrill and profit are valued more than safety. Yet 35 years before this tragedy, in another Kansas City park, death didn't come for a guest. It came for a young man working to keep the rides running. 4. William 𝙂𝙀. On July 9th, 1981, while the Worlds of Fun Park in Kansas City was shifting into its evening rush, 20-year-old William 𝙂𝙀 entered a narrow tunnel beneath the Zambezi Zinger roller coaster. It was his first summer job, one he had taken to save money for college. That day, he had been asked to check a short section of a track and retrieve a tool that had been left behind during the morning inspection, a simple task that should have only taken minutes. According to safety protocol, the ride operator was required to stop the coaster, record it in a logbook, lock out the system, and confirm over the radio that power had been cut. Only then could a technician safely enter the track area. But the radio in William's pocket stayed silent. He assumed the operator had already locked the controls and simply forgotten to confirm it. William stepped under the supports, surrounded by the smell of oil and hot metal. The system had been powered down. William lifted his head, instinctively searching for a way out, but there was nowhere to move. The first car entered the tunnel. At that same moment, the operator tried to reach him on the radio, and the silence that answered told him everything. The train roared through the passage so low that the steel undercarriage struck William's head. The blow was sharp and lethal. The ride was stopped immediately, and medics rushed to the scene. There was nothing they could do. The impact had decapitated him instantly. The investigation concluded that the equipment had not failed. The failure was human. The operator, rushing through routine steps, had not completed the lockout procedure, leaving the ride powered while William was still beneath the track. After the tragedy, OSHA, the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration,
Hold on. Sorry for that.
added the case to its national training program for amusement park workers. New technicians across the country were taught his story as a warning that even one missed switch can cost a life. Still, the real horror begins when terrified children start falling from the sky. 5.
Ooh.
Big Dipper. On May 30th, 1972, a group of school children from South London arrived at Battersea Park Fun Fair to celebrate the start of the summer break. Their goal was the park's most famous ride, the wooden roller coaster known as the Big Dipper. It stood 15 meters tall with 3 climbs and sharp turns that thrilled its riders. 2 years earlier, in 1970, a fire had nearly destroyed the Big Dipper. It was quietly rebuilt using second-hand parts imported from the United States. Safety inspections were rushed, and at the time, regulations were much more loose. People eagerly believed in the power of engineering. Among those in line were 15-year-old 𝙂𝙚 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙖𝙀, 14-year-old Aaron Talker, and 8-year-old Shirley Nash in a...
Chat, I'm gonna quickly go grab some rice real quick. I'll be right back. Just enjoy the video for the minute, okay? Bethany?
bright red dress. They had pulled their pocket money for tickets, excited for their first ride of the summer break. When their turn came, the children climbed into a 3-car train. The operator pulled the lever, and the train began its slow ascent, carrying 31 young passengers toward the top. At about 9 meters up, just short of the peak, a sharp crack split the air. The chain that pulled the train to the top had snapped. For a brief moment, the cars hung motionless, then began rolling backward. The anti-rollback system that was supposed to stop the train, but at that specific time, failed completely. The operator grabbed the manual brake, but the handle jammed. The train picked up speed, racing downhill in reverse at nearly 60 kilometers per hour. At the base of the track, where the rails curved back toward the loading area, the cars slammed into the bend. The impact crushed the front cars, throwing the rear ones off the track. Allison and several children in the front car were thrown forward, falling nearly 3 meters to the ground. Their injuries were fatal. Aaron felt pain surge through his body but could barely move, trapped beneath the broken beams. Parents, workers, and bystanders ran toward the wreck, pulling away splintered wood and twisted metal with their bare hands. Witnesses later said it looked like the aftermath of an explosion. Children lay among the wreckage, some crying, others silent in shock. Rescuers pulled Shirley Nash from one of the rear cars, almost unharmed. They led her onto the narrow platform that ran beside the track. For a brief moment, it seemed she had survived the disaster. Then, in a gruesome twist of fate, a rotten plank snapped beneath her. Shirley fell 3 meters onto the shattered remains of the coaster. She became the 5th child to die on that day. 13 others suffered broken bones, head injuries, and deep cuts. The next morning, headlines called it the disaster that should have never happened. Investigators documented 51 serious defects that had been ignored for years. Park officials were charged with negligence, but later acquitted. Of all the families who filed lawsuits, only one ever won. In 1975, survivor Aaron Talker brought his case to high court and was awarded £5,500 in compensation, about £58,000 in today's money. After the tragedy, Battersea Fun Fair fell into decline and closed for good a few years later. But what about today? Parks still run on worn-out machines and careless hands, waiting for the next fatal mistake. We don't know. We can only hope you're never there to find out. And now, which of these stories struck you the most? Tell us in the comments and
not like we can't be there. Everything's too expensive. Everything's way too expensive.
Imagine anything in Minecraft, but this in liquid form. Yep, so in this video, I've added more liquids to Minecraft. Just
oh
like
my god.
this. This is a slime liquid. This is really weird. So, yes, I can jump on top of this thing and it's gonna be bouncing me like this. If my code works, spawning 1 pig should spawn 100 pigs. Yes. Okay, this time I've made it so 1 bow shoots a bunch of arrows. Okay, 3, 2, 1, bam. Oh my god. Nice. Now, this is a TNT fluid. And it actually freaking works, surprisingly. Yes. So, I'm gonna be lighting this thing up and this is gonna be spawning.
Lol.
Oh my god, why was it so fast? From here to all the way over there. Boom. Nice. This is a stupid pattern. Boom. Nice.
Lol.
Okay, this time I've made every single block like water. I'm gonna place on a block right here, and this should update everything. So this tree flows like water, and this is also gonna update every single block near it. And yeah, this has turned into a gigantic mess, and this tree log is flowing now. This grass block should be able to just trigger the other grass block on the other side as well. This is how strong 1 block of update is. Oh my god, this mountain, no, this hill is just flowing like liquid. I mean, what do you expect? Yes, the melting
what do you
tree.
expect?
This is very amusing to watch. So yeah, this is the entire wall just slowly melting away, except for the portal right here, because this portal is not meltable. Okay, so we're in a flat world, and what the freak? Why are they so ugly? Even the torso is slow, isn't it? Let me break this, and this is gonna update everything. Yes. Whoa. Okay. What if there's someone cheesy right here? Oh my god. This is very cool. Yes, this is the village house melting. Wait, I want to try something. So I'm gonna summon a tree. Summon a tree. Grow a tree. And this should make it so that the tree is just flowing. Nice. The flowing tree.
Flowing tree.
Oh god. I think these are unable to grow further because these are on liquid form. So they're like, oh, I'm liquid. I cannot grow any taller because I'm really liquidy. This iron golem is suffering. Yes. So I'm gonna go make everything back to solid blocks, but this time I have really weird liquid to show you guys. This is what it looks like me holding it. Yeah. This is so stupid. So this is the water fluid. Water, because it's water and lava combined together. Oh, so creepy and really weird. Okay, survival mode, boom, and then let's get in this thing. Oh, ow, 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 ow. Oh my god. Oh. What if I go? I'm gonna try to go in between these things without getting damaged. I have to align myself, and then I'm gonna go. That was not that bad, yeah. So after getting destroyed by that little thing, I can go into this golden apple fluid and regenerate myself. Yeah. Okay, me versus a bunch of withers. Oh my god. Oh my god. Get in this thing. Oh. Yes, I can never die. I'm so freaking strong. Okay, 1,000,000 wardens versus me. Oh no. I'm gonna get destroyed. This is a sign of me getting destroyed. Oh my god. Wait, is this even possible? How do I have absorption health but no health points? What the frick? So what happens if the ice melts? What becomes water?
Okay, that's interesting.
But what if the ice is still liquid? So this is a melted ice, which is water, but it's not water because it's liquid ice. Oh my gosh. Yes, the liquid ice becomes water because it's melted. It's so weird. It's so cursed. Okay, so this is lava versus liquid ice. Oh no, what's gonna happen? Oh no, the liquid ice is turned into water. This is a skulk liquid that spreads skulks. I can make this spread even more. Give me a second. Okay, this should be it. Boom. Oh my god. So as you see, now the skulk is spreading way faster. Nice. Okay, I shall place down a skulk fluid right here and see it destroy the entire freaking world. It's happening. Do you remember the infinitely flowing water? Well, what if I put that infinitely flowing water code into the skulk block? So we have just made contact on the ground and it is starting to spread it relentlessly. So now you guys can enjoy this infinitely flowing skulk block. Just engulf this entire freaking poor Minecraft world.
Oh no.
Okay, so this is the acid fluid. So boom, this is the acid fluid and this is gonna melt every single block that it comes into contact with. So this fluid is really transparent, which is another feature that I really like. Okay, I'm gonna be melting this entire mountain with this acid fluid. The acid is flowing, but it is barely visible. Well, now it's visible because as you guys can see, this wherever the acid is, it is slowly disappearing. Wait, oh my gosh, are those ice blocks? Because the ice blocks are now liquid, so they just made a really weird pattern. Yeah. This is the ice liquid. This is so weird. This is so stupid. And yes, it did in fact make a huge hole going all the way down to the bedrock level. Okay, so this is a sand vault and this is the quicksand. It looks really similar, but whenever you go inside of this thing, you're gonna be sinking down like a little freaking rock. Yeah. And whenever I go in this thing, you're pretty much stuck forever because this is me trying to get out of this thing. And yeah, I cannot get out because I'm fat. I don't even think the zombies avoid this thing. So, hospital. Oh, will you get in? Oh, yes, it sucks. It freaking sucks. It sucks. So now it is in the freaking quicksand. So I cannot get out because it's ugly. Okay, so I've made it so that the quicksand spread to other blocks. So this is
okay. That's actually
gonna make the entire world into quicksand. Oh my god, this is really satisfying. Yes. Oh, okay, boom. Yes. All of these villagers are gonna be going into the swamp. Yeah. Suckers. This is so sad. So do you think I can outrun this thing? Maybe. We'll see. Okay. So boom. Oh my god. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Oh my god. Barely. Oh, get out of here. Oh my. Okay. I've done it again, and I am barely fast enough to the point where I can maybe kind of outrun the quicksand thing. Oh, maybe. Oh my gosh. Oh. So this is gonna be the quicksandification versus the acid. Who will win? The acid or the swamp? What the frick is this? What is this? What is this? Okay, so this is the infinitely flowing acid versus the infinite quicksandification. Who will win? It is going over the quicksand. The quicksand is getting overpowered by the acid. Have you ever wanted to see a glowstone liquid? This is gonna be extremely fast. 3, 2, 1, bam!
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh my god, yes!
Okay, that looks cool.
And the glowstone is finding its way down to the ocean, I think. Yes, and as you see, the glowstone has been stopped by the water because the flowing ice block has melted and became water. So I've made the glowstone liquid black this time. So this is gonna be if the black liquids glow in Minecraft. Oh my god, that looks so weird.
Ooh,
redstone
that weird
liquid. Boom. So this is the redstone liquid. So this can be used to activate a bunch of pistons in a sequential manner. So what if I make this thing spread just like the glowstone? This is gonna be extremely fast. Boom. So it's even faster than the glowstone. Oh my gosh, this is... Oh my god, this is extremely satisfying. And boom. Whoa. So I think this could make the TNTs explode as well. This freaking flowing redstone. Let's see. Oh, yes, it does work. Yes. So I have also created the redstone lamp liquid. So this looks like a cursed redstone block, but it, but it works. Check this out. Yes. It's a redstone liquid. It looks like a liquid, yeah. I need a redstone potion.
Liquid,
and
sure.
I'm gonna infect the on state. Yeah. So as you see, the on state gets infected throughout this fluid. Okay, so this is an infinitely flowing redstone lamp. Who in the heck would have thought about making an infinitely flowing redstone lamp liquid? Only me. So once this thing reaches this torch, it's gonna start to light up. So this is the fast forwarding motion of the infinitely flowing glowstone liquid getting infected by the redstoneness. So this is a really stupid fluid I made, and this is the all. Yeah, it's the all fluid. So whenever I am on top of this all fluid, it's really slippery. I almost have zero friction. Look at this. So this is a rail block, and this is the rail fluid. Yep. Boom. As you see, the minecart follows a rail's track. I don't know how I made this, but it works. Like the only thing I did was to make the rail pretty much like just float on top of this thing, and it just follows a track. I'm really surprised by the fact that this thing just automatically works.
Okay, that is something in the half. Anywho, chat. Pretty much. What's all the stream avatars? Oh, that's offset. That is all massive. There you go. But yeah, I'm pretty much gonna be ending off stream here. It's a pretty chill stream. I enjoyed chatting with y'all. That being said, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to relax for the rest of the night. And tomorrow I'm gonna have to like reinstall Windows because I pretty much can't really access the PC settings after like I replaced and upgraded my RAM stick, so that's good on it's good it did that, but also now for some reason I don't know what's going on, but I just can't access my Windows settings at all. And here I just want to say thank you everyone for joining today's stream. My name is Brainy Blitz. I'm a variety streamer. I stream lots of video game chat to me as well as I draw art. I do coding, and hopefully sooner or later I'll be doing 3D modeling for everyone here. That being said, I gotta get going now, Blitzies. Bye bye, matinee.